Alrighty, Metallic Onslaught is now, and today we're talking with Mr. Paul Mazurkiewicz from Cannibal Corpse. How's it going?
It's doing well. Thank you for having me.
No, glad to have you, man. So you guys have got a new album, Violence Unimagined, coming out on April 16th, as I understand it. Recently shared a track with us on social media, Inhumane Harvest. So let's talk about that for a second. What it's about and what made you pick that as a first single.
Well, in my opinion, of course, Rob actually wrote the song. So that's a Rob Barrett pen song right there. And he wrote the lyrics to it as well. But in my opinion, I think it's one of the best songs on the album. I mean, it's a great album. We're very pleased with the turnout. All 11 songs are great. But for some reason, I don't know why, that song just has a good feel to it. And I remember when we had to decide, of course, which song we're going to release first, in my opinion, and I think the other guys might have the same sentiment, was just, Inhumane Harvest has to be the song. It's just, just that whole middle slow part, and it's just got such a good groove to it and everything, and very catchy. That was my vote, and luckily everybody else kind of felt the same way, I guess. Just a great song, really. We could have chosen, I guess, any of them, but in my opinion, I'm going to say that's like one of my favorite on the record. Really is. So it was good to get something like that out first, I think, get everybody talking, everybody excited for the release of the record to hear the rest of the songs. Basically it's about, like I said, Rob wrote the lyrics, so I don't know them like offhand by heart kind of a thing, but basically just some sort of a crazy, like, organ, extracting, illegally, against people's will kind of a thing, in Cannibal Corpse vein, of course, so it's a pretty graphic subject, of course, something, that Rob wanted to write about, and he did. And, I think it, like I said, I think it's a great song and a great track to have out there for the first one.
Good deal. So, under current circumstances, how did you go about recording? I know it's not. I know I've spoken to a number of bands who've had to record parts from various locations instead of going into a studio.
Well, we got lucky, really. We recorded back in April. But obviously, COVID, everything just hit around March, so things were getting hectic right off the bat, everywhere was closed down, and of course, Florida, no difference. So at first we thought, we were worried, we were uncertain. I mean, are we going to, we're only a month out, ready, literally putting the final touches on the preparation work. And then we're going to be in the studio. And we were a little concerned that maybe it wasn't going to happen. Maybe they're going to come and shut the studio down, or, there was all those uncertainties. You don't even know. Am I going to get, driving from Tampa to St. Petersburg, Florida? Am I going to get pulled over, because I'm not supposed to be out on the road? I mean, we didn't, you don't know those things, right? So luckily it all worked out. We were able to actually start on time in mid-April, right as planned, and work as planned. The only setback, and it all worked out, of course, was Alex lives in Portland, Oregon these days. He's been there for a few years now. And of course, he would have had to have flown into Tampa to come in to stay for a while to record. And that was the plan. But with COVID and all that, he wasn't able to. So luckily for us and him, he's got his own nice bass or recording studio in his home that he's able to do his own tracks there, and really you wouldn't even notice the difference, kind of a thing. He does such a great job at recording, and he has the means. So we were able to do his bass tracks in Portland, Oregon. So that was the only kind of thing different, other than we were all there, the other guys, because we're all in Tampa. And, we were able to make it to the studio, and the preparation was there. And So it worked out actually really well.
Right on. And you've recently recruited Eric Ruttan, no stranger to the death metal scene. How'd that go?
Oh, great. I mean, you're great having Eric, of course, in the band. And, he contributed, of course, right off the bat, wrote 3 songs on the new record and actually wrote lyrics as well, which was cool. Obviously, right. We've worked with him for years on what, this is our 5th CD now, I think, or something with, working on him. So it was, and we've been friends with him a long time and all that. And he's obviously a staple in the death metal community, even well respected, well known, and a great guitar player, great guy, a hard worker, everything, So it was just it was cool to have him working alongside us. Obviously, he's always, done the producing or most of it and a lot of it, but for him to be a part of the band now and contribute, musically and, play all the tracks on the album, or, a lot of the guitar work and all, solos and what have you. And like I said, writing songs. So it's been awesome having Eric. It's been huge, and it's been a lot of fun.
Good deal. Yeah. So, I mean, the new track, I mean, it's like, you can definitely tell it's like, you guys just have a level of quality that maintains album to album. It's like, I'm liking what I'm hearing. Awesome. And I can't wait to hear the rest of it. But, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, your lyrical content and influences over the years. Do you guys find yourselves inspired by like the same sources, or, how have your influences changed in any way, if that's the case?
Well, I can only really speak for myself, of course, and I have written a lot of lyrics for Cannibal. This album, was a little less because Eric wanted to write his songs, and he did. So I only wrote two songs lyrically. I actually wrote a song of Alex's, which I haven't done in about 20 years. We figured the last song I wrote of Alex's, I think, was Blowtorch Slaughter back on Bloodthirst, which was 20 years ago. So kind of cool that I actually got to do the lyrics for one of his. But I did one of Rob's as well. So I only did 2 songs, but I'll tell you, for me and how it's been for the last few years, of course, I wrote a lot on Red Before Black. I wrote a lot on The Skeletal Domain, and, wrote a lot over my career. And it's varied over years, it's definitely varied my influences or my kind of style or my, what's driving me or what have you. But I'd say within the last few years, it's pretty much just coming from within, really. I mean, I really don't like, it's not like I need to go do some research. Okay, I'm going to, we're going to do a record. Oh, I better start, reading, or I better start, watching movies, or I better start just whatever, doing some research. I don't do that. I really let it all just flow kind of naturally from within. Obviously a lot of it starts with, say, if we have a song title, then that's huge. If Rob says, hey, I want to call my song this, all right, which is what he did. I want to call my song Murderous Rampage. Okay, well, there you go. At least I got a pretty good start with that. And, now I got to come up with what the Murderous Rampage is going to be like. And then I come in, into my own mind or what have you, and just bring the story out that way. I like to kind of just do it organically. I think we've just had so many influences over the years. We've been doing it for so long, and we've written so much that it's kind of like I like I said, I can only really speak for myself, but for me, just there's nothing. I've absorbed so much, I guess, over my life. So it's just a matter of bringing it out, to the foreground when I have to, and that's the way I do it these days. So.
So, still focusing a little bit on the lyrical content, definitely, actually, to listen to your stuff, it's like, gee, I don't think these guys are a little bit into horror at all. That's my first impressions on hearing you guys back in the day. So how about, like recent horror releases? Anything stand out to you these days?
Well, it's
Shudder is a wonderful thing, by the way.
Yeah, ironically enough, I can't even remember the last horror movie I actually saw. I don't know why. We all love them, and I know some of the other guys probably still watch a lot. I don't seem to watch a lot of horror movies anymore for some reason. So I'm trying to think, like the last one, that would have been really kind of catching to me. And I actually can't even think of it. I'm such a, the old school kind of stuff obviously is what I always gravitate back towards, even if I saw something. I guess probably the last one. I don't know why this movie, and it's not even new anymore. It's old, obviously, but for some reason that first The Ring, movie, and that was what now? Geez, 15 years. I don't even know. It's been a while. It's not like it's new.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what year that came out.
Right.
I remember there, I liked The Ring, and I remember there being a lot of buzz about The Grudge. And to me, The Grudge it was a lot to process. And then people have told me, it's like, you think that's bad, watch the Japanese version because it won't make any sense to you at all.
Right. And it's funny you say that because I remember The Grudge was right after The Ring, and I never saw The Grudge. It was weird. I don't know why I never saw The Grudge. And I remember it being out. I remember the previews, and then I just never saw it. I don't know why. So yeah, it's just weird how
really creepy, horrific imagery in that for sure. But
right.
It bounces over. It's one of those stories that just goes everywhere.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I know there's some recent good ones that I haven't seen that I can't even think about now because, I think this would be definitely more of a question. I think like Alex would be able to answer a little better. He still kind of keeps up with some of these more horrific, newer movies that I just, don't even, for some reason, like I said, really just don't seem to be watching these days.
I could say right off the top of my head, two of my favorites in recent years, both star Nicolas Cage. Mandy, and about a year ago there was a H.P. Lovecraft adaptation of Color Out of Space starring Nick Cage, and exceptionally good.
And I didn't even know those were out. So that's how much out of the loop I am these days.
Highly recommended.
Nicolas Cage, great actor.
So I did have one more thing that I forgot to jot down on my cheat sheet here, but it's a question that kind of popped up that I think I might like to throw out, and you'll be my first one. So go back, your early days. What was the best piece of advice that you were given that you kind of still hold true to today?
That's a good question, and it's a tough one to answer because I'm trying to really think, like what that would be. I mean, it would have to have been, oh my gosh. I mean, that's a tough one, and I'll tell you, I must have heard this from somebody, or maybe I just felt it over years, or just know this, or when people ask me, I'll kind of put a flip on it. Is people always ask, us, what's the best advice you can give to me as like saying an up and coming musician, or what can you tell me, and I can tell. What I always tell kids or fans or, musicians, wannabes of the like is, man, just be true to yourself, like don't be anybody else. Do what you want to do. You have to follow your heart, you have to be true to yourself in that way. Don't just think you're going to make it as a musician or in sports or as an actor or anything like that by, it's not an easy task, but you do have to be yourself. You have to follow your own passion here, and if you're not, then it's going to be tough. So I because they always ask, right, what's the key to success? What's to write a good song, all that. It's just like, man, you gotta. You have to feel that. You got to be yourself, and you got to do what you feel is right. And that's the most important thing. And maybe you're going to fail. Maybe you're not going to be, the next big thing or the next thing. But if you didn't try, then you wouldn't know. You have to try. Exactly. Because if you don't try, then you're always going to live with that what if kind of a thing. So I just always try to tell everybody, stay positive and be yourself, and if you really want to achieve something, you'll find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So,
right on. Okay, well, I think that's all I got for you today.
All right,
definitely looking forward to the new album. That's Violence Unimagined, out April 16th. Where, like I said, we're looking forward to hearing more.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. I can't wait for everyone to hear the rest.
Man, hopefully get to see you guys out on the road again here. I think my last time was Lost Horizon in Syracuse just a few years ago.
Oh, right.
And that was the first time you guys had played there in a number of years, as I recall.
Yes, I do remember that show. I think it snowed pretty heavily after the show, I remember. And then we had not played there.
On the way home, it got a little
because I remember my father came to that show and we drove in his car after that, and it was coming down like whoa, and it was a weird time too. I don't even think it was like full on winter. For some reason I remember.
I think it was like late October, early November,
something
somewhere.
Like that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right. So now it was cool to play there again because exactly we didn't play there since like the early '90s, way back when. So it was cool to play there, and hopefully we'll be able to be out on the road and be up your way again sooner than later,
Yes, indeedy. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for your time.
No, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man.
All right, man. You take care. Thanks again.